down. This is so close.
This is going to be Royal Club's game. There's nothing the Fnatic can do to come out of this one.
Wow, the shockwave comes down. Prey, he's going to be finished off, but look at Piglet.
Royal is going to be walking their way into the base on this one. Boom! Headshot goes down.
The first victim is watched as the Wraith of Sword are on the retreat. Ladies and gentlemen, SKT have done it.
The road to the biggest event in esports begins right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Season 3 World Championship Final! I'm If Your Shock supporter coming to you live from the Staples Center here in Los Angeles, California. Now, over the last 12 months, teams from around the globe have been fighting for the same goal, the Summoners Cup. And tonight, there's only 2 teams left standing. Korea's SK Telecom T1 and China's Royal Club. Tonight, they will face off in the World Final, and when the last Nexus falls, the victor will have its name inscribed on the Summoners Cup forever as the Season 3 World Champion. But before SKT and Royal Club take to the Rift, let's send it around Staples Center, starting with the awesome gentleman at the caster desk.
Thank you very much, Socks. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and joining me at the caster desk tonight for Season 3 World Final is going to be Rivington Biz on the third, and of course Joshua Jat Leisman.
Yeah, and guys, the semifinals were awesome, so I cannot wait to see how SK Telecom matches up with the highly aggressive Royal Club.
All right, but before we get to the best of 5 final, let's send it across the Staples Center and check in with Quickshot and the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv, and thank you to the Staples Center. My name's Trevor Quickshot Henry, alongside David Freak Turney.
And this is the spot where we will bring you guys all the analysis, the highlights, and the predictions for tonight's final, starting with our extended pre-game coverage.
Right now, though, I would like to introduce the gentlemen who've been dropping knowledge on us since the group stage started. OG and Castle Monte Cristo, Evil Genius's Crepo, and Counter Logic Gaming's Double Lift. That's what I like to hear. Well, guys, before we get to the world final between SKT and Royal Club, let's examine how these 2 teams got here, starting with the tournament bracket.
All right, so coming into this tournament, SK Telecom T1 was Korea's 3rd seed. They placed first in their group, and then in the quarterfinals, they took out the Taiwanese champs Gamma Bears. Then they narrowly defeated Korea's #1 seed, Najin Black Sword, in the semifinals. On the other side, Royal Club was China's #1 seed coming into Worlds. That earned them a bye into the quarterfinals. There, they swept past their Chinese rivals OMG before taking 3 out of 4 games against the European champions Fnatic. Now that brings us here with both these teams to the best-of-5 final.
And while the tournament bracket is great for the big picture, let's take a moment and focus on the details, specifically the highlights from Royal Club's wins here at Worlds.
It's going to be...
Whoa! It's going to be a rematch of the Chinese playoffs winners finals. That is going to be insane.
This is going to be game number 1, going over to Royal Club.
They were falling out of their chairs by the end of that one.
He's still alive. He's still surviving. He stays alive. Ace for Royal Club. What an amazing fight coming out of
my God.
They are going to take down their Chinese rivals, and you can see exactly what it means to Royal Club.
We don't want to come LA, play just the first round to play the games and just go back. We don't want to be tourists, you know?
Fnatic versus Royal, game 1.
They get the kill, they get the Nexus, and Royal have gone 2-0. Can you believe it?
Peke goes down in a second. You see white on the board. Uzi comes up big.
Uzi is alive, Uzi is doing damage. It's Royal Club going through to the grand final against SK Telecom T1.
All right, gentlemen, with that, the last time we sat around this desk, Royal Club had just outfought Fnatic in that incredibly exciting semi-final series. Coming into tonight's match, Royal Club is considered the underdog, but they're pretty used to that by now because no one on the desk picked them to beat OMG, and only Doublelift predicted them to take down Fnatic. That being said, though, how do these underdogs plan to, pull out the wins, and how do they do it in those 2 series?
I think it's the obvious here is Uzi. He's just the god. He just plays so well. Solid mechanics, always just perfect cleanses. Every time Uzi cleanses, it's almost like if it's red before that even happens. The only cleanse he missed in this tournament is when one guy flashed away right in front of his face. It's almost as it makes it seems Uzi.
And while Uzi is kind of the centerpiece of that team, you can't really underrate White, I feel like his laning is a 10 out of 10. He's never lost lane so far this entire tournament, and all he does is counterpick his opponent and smash lane, and he's always useful throughout the game. Even though he might miss some ultis here and there, his laning is superb.
And to me, I actually really like Royal's laning phase. And sorry, not the laning phase, but also their strategic play. I think that's actually the big MVP here. Because they play the map and they play objectives better than anyone else. They will rotate someone out of a lane and just 5-man dive a turret. And you might get their top turret, but they'll get kills on your turret. They'll kill the turret itself. And they'll time that push around blue buff or dragon so they get more than they lost in all these pushes.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Freak, about their strategic grouping. Because they do force those objectives after they shove those lanes like you're talking about. And, I faulted OMG for kind of getting suckered into the team fights, but after watching them dismantle Fnatic, a team built around those surprise brush ganks, those picks that they work for, you have to say, Royal is just, there's something about their play that forces other teams to react to their decisions. And with their team compositions that are all about that 5v5, it's really, really powerful. They also came in with great game plans. So I am super excited about what we're going to see in the first game tonight. Seeing that jungle follow with the top laner against Fnatic, seeing the bans that they had, how they just had such a good read on Fnatic's team compositions. And Fnatic looked like they were floundering, and we'll have to see if they can throw SK Telecom off their game as well.
Well, of course, that is one corner. Over in the other corner for tonight's fight for the Summoners Cup, it is the Korean juggernaut, SK Telecom T1. After tearing through Korea's champion Summer and the regional qualifiers, they've blown away Worlds with an impressive 12-3 record. Coming into this tournament, there were a lot of people.
SK Telecom T1.
SKT T1 is a Korean monster.
They're one of the favorites. I believe that SK Telecom is the favorite for the entire World Championships.
SKT can. They're going 3 turrets in a row and another kill.
Inhibitor turret in 12 minutes.
That will be the game for SK Telecom T1.
SK Telecom T1 will advance to face Najim Black Sword in the semi-final. Sword are going to pick up game 1 in the series.
And we said it before, SKT not the best starters in these best-of-5 situations. But look at Piglet ripping through Sword here. SK Telecom T1 bring us all square at 1-1. Faker is still running, still damaging him. There's another turn, and Expansion goes down. What just happened here? Faker magic again.
Tickets to the Korean hype train. Would you like one?
Oh, the winner of this match will be going on to the Staples Center.
A massive Shockwave throws 3 of them together. The first victim is Watts and the rest of Sword are on the retreat. Ladies and gentlemen, SKT have done it.
This is the final for SK Telecom T1. They will be representing Korea at the Staples Center in the World Final.
As I was saying, coming into this tournament, there were a lot of people who bought tickets to that SKT hype train. And so far, Faker and crew have really kept rolling with some impressive wins. Monty, you've been the conductor on said hype train for all of this tournament. What does SKT have to do to stay on track to take home the Summers Cup?
I think that we've been seeing this improvement in their laning phase. Mandu and Piglet have had, some shaky times in lane, but they looked better against Naj and Sword when we talked about how critical it was for them to perform in a 2v2 against Prey and Kane. So that's a big boost to them because they've shored up a lot of their problems. I don't really think we have to worry about Faker and Impact. They've been doing well for this entire tournament, and really my eyes are on that duo lane.
At the same time, though, I think Faker's really susceptible to counterpicks. As you saw against Sword, he got counterpicked by Nagne, and he didn't do so well. He actually got outplayed multiple times by Gragas, a matchup he's probably not really used to. And Impact had Impact had to play Expression, but Going played Godlike, and then Godlike played Soaz, who's like potentially the best European top laner at the time. So I feel like both these top laners, it won't be as one-sided as you might think. It's going to be a really hard matchup.
Yeah, at the same time, my eyes have been on Bengi. I really like the way he plays the jungle. Really vision-centric, really mobility-based, almost a second support on the map. It's what basically snowballs SKT's lead. Whenever they get ahead, they will not lose that lead ever again because Bengi is constantly warding, constantly running around helping ganks, getting where he has to be really quickly because of his mobility. At the same time, though, if SKT gets behind, then it's going to be really hard to fall back into the game because they're so far behind and the jungle only has wards and mobility, especially against Royal. They like grouping up. They know when to push an advantage. And once they do, if all you have is wards and mobility boots, that might not be enough.
Yeah, and I actually agree with you a lot, Crepo. I think Bengi is actually the key here for SKT because, especially compared to Royal, these guys play a much longer laning phase. They will sit in lanes and try to outskill you, and Bengi will go make plays. They've got pink wards, they've got oracles, he's got mobility boots. He'll come in and try to get a 3v2 or something. Maybe the team roams in afterwards, but without Bengi, they don't make a lot of crazy plays. They kind of sit there for a bit of it. And to me, if they don't get ahead in the laning phase, if their laning phase isn't actually good against Royal, then they're in really tough shape here. And Royal statistically so far has outlaned their opponents better than SKT so far. Numerically, they're stronger here in these lanes.
I'm definitely looking forward to this matchup, and as we ramp up towards that Season 3 championship match, we have some more exciting news about next season. Beginning in 2014, we will be partnering with Coke Zero to create a new Challenger Series for both North America and Europe.
Yep, 32 Challenger tier teams from each region will earn a spot in the Challenger Series, where they will compete in weekly games broadcast live directly following the European and North American LCS matches.
Yeah, at the end of the Challenger Series, the top teams will then compete in a championship tournament, with the final 3 getting to fight the pros for a spot in the LCS.
For more details on the new Challenger Series, head over to lolesports.com.
While you guys are there, make sure you vote for who you think will win tonight's World Final. Click on Schedule near the top of the lolesports.com homepage, select the Final tab, and just give a thumbs up to either SKT or Royal Club. And later in tonight's game, we will be talking to, of course, the analysts to make their final prediction of the season for the Season 3 World Champion.
And then when you're done making your pick for tonight's match, jump on Twitter and tell us who has been the MVP of the Season 3 World Championship and why. Send your answers to @LOLesports and be sure to use the hashtag Worlds.
I feel like we're giving everybody homework here. Guys, as you can tell by the countdown clock that's sitting at the bottom of the screen, we're getting very, very close to tonight's opening performance, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Before we get to the opening performance, though, I want to call out something that Double have highlighted. You basically said that Faker's going to lose lane to White. Expand on this a little bit for me. Break it down.
So, yeah, if I had to rate out of 10, I'd give White like a 10 in laning, absolutely perfect laning. I cannot see any mistakes. And then afterwards, like a 6 on everything else. Mechanics, positioning, skill shotting, stuff like that. But I'd give Faker like a 9.99. He's close to perfect on everything. But I just think White has that small advantage in lane where he's willing to counterpick. He's really versatile. He's so good in lane. And then Faker will obviously outscale him as the game goes on.
There's actually something interesting about Faker as well. In most of his matchups, he almost never runs magic resist glyphs. Even against mages, against like Ahri, he will be like, I don't need magic resist against Ahri. And this opens you up to being killed. Now, he tends to outskill his opponents, to be fair, but it's a weakness that most other mid laners don't run. It's interesting.
What's your take on this, Monty? I mean, as a defender, as the conductor of the hype train, your star, I don't know, server on the train, as it were? Can Faker take Whites down?
He's the engineer, but he's driving it. But yeah, I think that Faker does have a strong laning phase. I think that he's slipped up. He has slipped up at times during this tournament, but his champion pool is so huge, so versatile. And typically we've seen SK Telecom in Korea, they used to use those first picks early on in the pick and ban phase for Faker. But against Sword, after he started losing to Nagne, they really adapted their strategy, bumped Piglet up into the higher picks, and then Faker was down to the counter picks at the bottom. So I think they were a little cocky in their pick and ban phase, and they probably, I anticipate that we'll see that adjustment tonight. And like you say, White loves to counter pick, but I think that they will be expecting that, and they will have some tricks up their sleeve of their own.
That's actually something you saw a lot in the European LCS, which was a very mid-centric region, as we all pointed out. Mid picks would either be like immediately first pick if it was something really strong they wanted to deny, like a Kassadin, but generally people would wait really long and go for the counter pick. At times, we even considered going purple side first just to make sure we had the ultimate last pick in the game and could counter pick whatever mid people had.
Well, we've got an AD carry and support on the desk here. My next question is going to be focused around these duo pairings. You know, Uzi and Tabe against Piglet and Pumandu. Now, I want to start this off, first of all, by posing a question. What do you guys think of the duo? And are we actually going to see, you know, head-to-head matchups 2v2, or do you think we're going to go 2v1? We'll get to the 2v1s later, but let's focus on the duo pairing for this time being.
I think if they end up 2v2, it will be like another episode of Deadliest Catch. Both Tabe and Pumandu have been known to get caught in lane, and Uzi punishes that, as well as Piglet. They're really strong at punishing mistakes, but at the same time, the supports both have gotten into vulnerable positions, probably due to aggression once in a while. So my money's actually on Uzi and Tabe here.
Uzi and Tabe actually tend to pick very weak lanes, and he's not as strong in lane as you might think, and Vayne is like especially just really weak in lane. But you see Uzi able to hold up in lane, potentially even get kills in lane and outscale. He always picks scaling ADs and just wants to carry the game in the mid lane game. That's what the AD-centric kind of strategy Royal runs is.
Any other comments?
I actually think, I know you talk about the 2v2, but thing is, I feel like Royal seeks 2v1 so much that, and they're so good at it too, that you know, even if you do think that, you know, they're picking kind of weak lanes here, Double Lift, I think that these guys will be able to easily skirt that if they want to.
Well, it's also like we haven't seen really one of the hallmarks of Royal's style here at Worlds, which is to 2v1 the mid lane. I mean, they were very well known for that in China, and if you've got a player the caliber of Faker that you want to shut down, that may be the way forward tonight.
Well, according to Double Lift, White is going to do that, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, a lot of the champions Faker plays are not as susceptible to 2v1 mids. Like these long-range clear or mass clearers in wave, they will just clear the wave on a tower. Especially Bengi, knowing how well he plays with his lanes, both with Faker and Impact, he will just show up, help clear that wave, go away again, mobility again, help out lanes where they need to be. It's possible, but if White actually has an edge, as a certain analyst here proclaimed, then why would they put 2v1 mid?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm predicting that Royal gives Faker Ahri, like Sword did, and Faker's going to foolishly pick Ahri early into a counter pick Vlad. This is what White pulled out against Cool. He pulled Vlad against Ahri, and he just smashed Cool.
And actually, I actually like that you're talking about the champion picks now, because I think Orianna and Gragas are actually really important for Faker here. Not only because they're good laners, but I think they're specifically good against Royal's play style. Because if you've got really good wave clear, if you can sit there at your turret and hit people 900 range away, they can't do that turret siege. And you can punish the AD carry for hitting your turret. And you actually create a lot of openings in that sort of gameplay that Royal likes to bring out.
I do want to point out, though, that Faker's Gragas is, in my opinion, I mean, it's very strong, but it's also the only champion that SK Telecom lost with in the group stage when he was playing that Gragas. So he did well, but it just wasn't quite enough to carry the team in the fights.
Well, I love the discussion. I'm very excited to see how this picks and vans phase goes. We're actually going to be discussing a little bit more about who won the coin toss and some of the strategic depth behind that in a moment. For those of you who are looking at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, there is less than 50 seconds until the opening performance at Worlds. Now, I'm happy to hear you guys clapping, but I'm not sure you're loud enough for this one. How many of you guys seen some of the hype videos for the performance? How many of you guys know that Wes Borland's taking to the stage in less than 25 seconds? Let's see how many of you guys can count. Who's going to count us down? Let's hit the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. You can see them on your screen. Let's count this down. 15, 14, 13, 12, Esports.